Your child refuses to answer questions in class. They ask questions over and over. They get upset when the routine changes. They don't know how to respond if they don't know what's coming up next. You might say, oh, they just being difficult. They doing too much. Oh, they just so extra. And what if none of these things were true? What if what you're actually seeing is anxiety? Because one of the difficult things about anxiety is that it doesn't look like anxiety sometimes at all. So today we're going to discuss what parents often miss about anxiety, why it's often mistaken for behavior problems, and what children are actually trying to communicate when they're exhibiting symptoms of anxiety. Because once you understand those symptoms, everything else becomes a whole lot clearer. When most people think about someone with anxiety, they imagine someone being scared, being timid, being frightful of what's about to come up next. But anxiety can look a lot different in a lot of different situations. Sometimes it looks like avoidance. Sometimes it looks like perfectionism. Sometimes it looks like just being anxious about meeting new people or doing new activities or events. So when you see all these things together, you say, that person is just scary. But what's really happening is they are having an overactive threat detection system, because that's what anxiety really is. It helps you detect threats, seek them out, and deal with them accordingly. A little bit of anxiety is good because it helps you to get started on something. It helps you to finish things because you don't want whatever bad thing might be coming in the future as a result of you not starting or finishing. So a little bit of anxiety helps to keep us going, helps us to detect those threats or anything that may be harmful. But an overactive alarm system is when anxiety can become debilitating and shut us off from doing the things that we most love to do and are the best at. So let's look at some examples. A child who refuses to participate in class. Some people might say, they're lazy. But they really might be having a fear of being called out for getting the wrong answer. A child who refuses to even start a test that they know has been coming up for a week or two. A lot of people might say, oh, they're absolutely unprepared. They're unorganized. But they may have so much debilitating fear that they literally cannot get started on that particular test. Or what about that child who does not want to taste that new food item because they think it might be disgusting and make them throw up? People might say, oh, they're just picky and they're spoiled. But they really may have had an experience in the past where they ate something that wasn't so good, had a bad reaction to it, and now we're saying, I'm not going to go through that again. So all of these things can look like anxiety and can be actual anxiety, and you can see how they are mistaken for behavior problems because the behavior problems are outward, they're visible, but we have to look up under the hood to understand why these things are happening, to really understand if it's anxiety or not. One of the most overlooked forms of anxiety is perfectionism. Somebody may erase their paper and get upset when they can't form a letter perfectly. They may ball their paper up and throw it in the trash because they didn't get one of the digits correct in a 4-digit answer. They may throw the whole book onto the floor because they could not read a correct word. Now you might say, oh, this is an extreme behavior problem. Or you could say, wow, they are really so motivated that they just want to get that question right. But in this case, it's not motivation. It is the fear of being called out for being incorrect that drives them. That is why when they see that actual fear start to come to fruition, they have those visceral reactions. So when you see behavior like this, you have to start to say, in what situations does this typically occur? Do I see a pattern? And is this related to fear, or is this related to not being able to focus or some other type of issue? Because we can see that perfectionism can be helpful, but if all you're trying to do is avoid risk, then you're going to stop your learning progress because learning involves risk. Another thing parents often miss is that anxiety often shows up in the body before it shows up anywhere else. So you might hear things like, oh, I got a stomach ache. I don't want to do this. Oh, my head hurts. I can't possibly do it today. Oh, my mouth is dry. I think I'm going to throw up. Not right now. And people might spend months, weeks, and even years trying to solve the physical symptoms without recognizing the emotional symptoms that are going on behind it. So when you start to identify that pattern of, something tough is coming up, and that's when that headache starts. Oh, something is due, and now your stomach hurts. We have to go here, and now you have to go to the restroom. That's when you can start to say they're having an anxious reaction. Because typically, an anxious reaction will get your body prepared for anything difficult that's coming up. But in those who have an overactive alarm system, such as in those with anxiety difficulties, you start to see it break the body down. And remember, the body will show it a lot sooner than anybody else will be able to recognize it. So when children become anxious, adults often say things like, "You'll be all right. Just relax. Don't even worry about it." All those things can be somewhat dismissive to somebody who already knows that the problem that they're perceiving is not going to cause them any physical threat or harm. So by dismissing them, you're not dealing with what they are dealing with at that time, which is a perceived danger or perceived fear. So don't dismiss it by talking them through it or shrugging them off. This is something that you really have to get down, see them at their eye level, and help them deal with it the way that they see the problem occurring. Instead, try saying, "I can see that that's hard. What part bothers you the most about that? How can I help you? How can we work through this together? Let's solve it. I bet we can figure this out." Think about what all those phrases do. They acknowledge what's going on without being dismissive, and it helps them to give them coping skills as well, so that they're not just trying to get rid of the anxiety, because that's not going anywhere. And guess what? We already said we need a little bit of it to help us get through our day-to-day tasks. So we want to acknowledge it, we want to give some skills, and then we want to help them practice it. So it's not about avoiding the anxiety or trying to get rid of it. It's trying to walk and talk them through it. So if your child seems angry, withdrawn, perfectionistic, avoidant, don't say, "Oh, it's just a behavior problem. They'll get over it." Start to give them the skills that they need to cope with situations that come up all the time, that they have the skills now to get through. This is going to be much more effective than trying to dismiss their feelings and their perceptions in an effort to get them past what's blocking them at this moment in time. And also, ask yourself, why might they be feeling this way? What problems can occur in this situation? Did something happen in the past that caused them to have this type of physical symptom or fear? If you start asking that, that'll help you to identify what you need to do next. Because what we don't want to do is ask, what's wrong with them? And start to ask, what could they be experiencing? Because that leads us to answers. That leads us to interventions. And that's when we have the coping skills that can help us get from one level to the next. So if you're still having questions, you still want to know, what can I do? Or is this even a problem that I need to deal with? Don't hesitate to reach out to us by looking at our bio or looking down in the description. You can contact us. We'll give you a free 15-minute consultation, and you'll also get to check out a bunch of our free videos, as well as look at free tips that we have for you, free tools that we have on our website as well, and we'll make sure that we link to some down low. So if this video has given you any information, any insight that you did not have before, make sure you hit that subscription bell. And if you want to keep coming back for more and you don't want to miss anything, you don't have to do anything but one thing, and that is stay tuned.